Good morning YouTube, it's Amy and I'm back with yet another gear video. If you're interested in what I carried on our 10-day section hike through the Smokies this summer, stay tuned. Okay, let's dig into what the best gear choices were. So the biggest change I made was switching from my Z-Pax Arc Blast to a Z-Pax Arc Haul. The main reason I switched, this has a higher load carrying capacity for more comfort than the Arc Blast did, and Rachel and I were going to do a 6-day carry, which is our longest carry ever. I did buy my Arc Haul used. The woman who had owned it before me sold it on Poshmark, and she had about a month's worth of backcountry experience with it. I found that it was in really great condition for the price, and it came with the 2 side pockets, so it was a steal on Poshmark. So if you can buy used gear, do it. So you can see on the Arc Haul, I have moved over some of my accessories from my Arc Blast, such as my Justin's UL ultralight sleeve for water bottles. You can buy that on Etsy at Justin's UL. The Justin's UL sleeve is a gear recommendation by New Hampshire, and I do really love it. I did buy the full liter size. I do have 2 side pockets that are original Z-Packs that came with this pack, as well as I have added a Hyperlight Mountain Gear side pocket that's waterproof for cell phone carrying. I also hiked with my tried and true Cascade Mountain Tech cork grips, which were a recommendation of Darwin on the trail, and you can see I've added duct tape to both of them for trail patching and emergencies. Now, this was a summer hike, so I did take my summer SLX, which is the green lighter version than my insulated orange one that I take in fall hikes. I did upgrade to the Pump House Platinum, which shaved a couple of ounces off of my total pack weight. And this was a great choice for me. The SLX provides about 4 inches of pad comfort, and while it is a little squeaky, we did not regret having that in the shelters of the Smokies. I do have 2 blow-up pillows. One is the Climate X, which I generally just hold because I'm a side sleeper. And then my preferred head pillow was the Nemo Filio Elite, which I would put a cotton buff on as a little pillowcase just to kind of keep all of my sweat and dirt off of the actual pillow, which is really high quality. This is really soft, it's like a smooth silk. It does actually have a stuff compartment if you wanted to use it here. And this is the underside. You can see that, again, this side is soft too. But I did want to protect the pillow, so I did wear that cotton buff as just my pillow sleeve. I also brought my 5-degree Z-Pax quilt. It is the classic 3/4 zip sleeping bag. They do not sell the 5-degree anymore. They sell 10-degree, 20-degree, and 30-degree, which are slightly less expensive than this one. We did not regret having 5-degree bags in the summer in the Smokies. I was delighted to slide into that every night. I never felt hot. It was a wonderful choice. So a while back, I had purchased this very light 3.5 ounce survival bivvy for the Smokies. However, because of the pandemic, you can actually tent near the shelters. I do not know how long that rule will apply. And we didn't, except at Birch Spring Campground the first night. I carried my tent as an emergency shelter, but really it was kind of unnecessary. We could have pushed on that first day, headed to the shelter, and been totally fine without actually carrying a tent through the Smokies. But Rachel and I love redundancy, and we love to be safe, especially in conditions where we know there's no easy exit. And so because we were on one of the 6-day most remote sections of the Appalachian Trail, we decided to bring emergency shelters. So we both had a system that we could set up. And I did carry my 17-ounce Big Agnes Scout Platinum. Rachel and I both brought the 3-liter Beef Breed bag with a filter. I also brought the gravity attachment. It's just really easy at the end of the night to get 6 liters when you have 2 of these bags and to bring it into camp with you to use it for dinner and then breakfast and then filling water bottles the next day. It saves you a lot of trips to the water source. So this is my emergency first aid Sea to Summit bag that I carry on the outside of my backpack so that I can grab it, and it's orange and it says emergency first aid so that anybody can grab it if something happens to me or if somebody else needs it really quickly. What's in my emergency kit, you ask? I have pretty much one of everything. I'm a teacher, I come prepared. I have an extra water bottle cap, a tick remover, a compass. I also have an emergency blanket, a burn pad, which is really helpful if you're cooking with fire or a stove. We used one of these one year. I also bring some basic meds like Benadryl, Claritin, aspirin, Aleve. I have extra caffeine just in case. I have Pepto-Bismol, Alka-Seltzer. And then I bring Neosporin, the most important anti-diarrheals. Additionally, I do have a prescription cream for stings, wasp stings and bee stings. If you're out on trail and you're hours away or days away from medical help, this is super helpful. My arm has completely swelled up 10 inches based on a couple of stings, so I have to have this. I do have backup water system with aqua tabs. I have a couple of Band-Aids in different sizes. I have normal Band-Aids, I have Leukotape, I have a tiny Band-Aid, I have antiseptic, a gauze sponge, a waterproof Band-Aid, a giant Band-Aid that will stick really well. I do carry a trauma pad and nitrile gloves. I hope to never have to use them, but if you get a stick through the leg and you're bleeding out from an artery, I would want a trauma pad. So I do carry one of those. They're super light and they stop bleeding fast. So these are the main things that I have in my kit. One addition to our hygiene kits this year were the Sea to Summer Wilderness Wipes. We picked these up in Gatlinburg at the NOC Outfitter store that's right on the edge of the Smoky Mountains National Park, and I was so glad we did. They are so much bigger than baby wipes, and you used fewer of them, and you can just pack them out in your trash. Okay, this might be an overshare, but one super important product is shaving cream. So this is my personal favorite. It acts like Desitin, but it doesn't smell like Desitin. So it's Boudreaux's butt paste. You can put this anywhere that you have a hot spot, and it'll last for a couple of days out there in the woods. So you don't have to reapply it every night. You could, but this really lasts for a while, and it keeps you out there and it keeps you hiking, especially in those hot, humid conditions of the summer. So if you didn't bring Body Glide, get yourself some Boudreaux's. It's in the baby aisle at every major retailer. Also in my hygiene kit, I did get a cooler cloth this year, as well as bringing some toilet paper. There were lots of privies in the Smokies. Half the shelters did have privies, which was nice. Now, I did give away my stove on trail this year to a French couple that was traveling across the world. It was a wood-burning stove. I'll show you it here. Some food. It was just pretty much impossible to get it started in the Smokies. Everything was wet. And even with the fire starters that I brought that were pre-soaked in Vaseline, I could not get a fire going in this tiny little wood-burning stove. I was able to get my water lukewarm one night, and then after that I just started either borrowing Rachel's gas or just setting it on the fires at the shelters in my titanium pot, which I guess can explode. But I had some luck with that, and I was able to heat up water hot enough so that I could rehydrate my meals and have a warm meal. So that worked out for me, but I did not use the wood stove that I brought for the Smokies, and I have now given it away. So for hydration, Rachel and I usually typically carry 2 or 3 water bottles. Generally, we carry 2 1-liter smart water bottles with the flip cup tops, just easier to get your water out. And we also carry a bottle where we can mix electrolytes. So I take generally a brand new Gatorade out, and then when that's gone, I will mix my Noon into it. I used to hate Noon. I know a lot of people don't like the effervescent, sparkling type, but Noon has proven itself to me because I have really bad reactions to Mio and Propel. They have ingredients in them that are in the xylitol class or the sucralose class. And so that impacts my stomachs usually on day 1 when I'm hiking, and it makes me sick a lot. So I've kind of narrowed that down and figured out what makes me feel ill on day 1. So I tend to avoid those. And Noon is amazing. I have 2 or 3 Noons a day. That might be too much, but I love those electrolytes. They make me feel great. 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon when I hit a wall, 1 before bed, and that seems to do the job for me to keep my salt up, keep my electrolytes up, and to keep me feeling great all day long. Some of you may be wondering what I take out there for navigation. I typically bring my phone that has gut hooks on it, which I love. I love the Appalachian Trail Gut Hooks edition. And I do tend to bring paper maps as well as trail descriptions. However, I left that at home this year with my headlamps. So there was one critical bag that I needed that had both the paper maps and the trail descriptions and the headlights, and it got left behind. So sometimes that happens, which is why redundancy is really important. Rachel also had gut hooks on her phone. When we were in Gatlinburg, it still made me uncomfortable not to have a paper map. So I bought a paper map and then cut it in half and took just the northern section of the Smokies map out with us to Standing Bear, and that made me feel a lot better. Other things I carried that are typically normal for me were a small Swiss Army knife, a Z-Packs wallet that hangs from a tiny carabiner inside my pack just to keep my money and my cards safe. I did bring a small tripod, which I barely used and I probably won't bring again. And I also had sunglasses. Some people might think sunglasses are not worth the ounce or two. I really need sunglasses. My eyes are extra sensitive to sunlight, and being that it was summer, I knew we would be up high on some balls. I really wanted to have them, and I was very happy to have them in Gatlinburg for the afternoon of the first day that we got there, and then again the entire next day. I was super happy to have sunglasses. So I keep those in my Hyperlight pocket right up by my shoulder, and I have them ready at all times. I did not bring sunblock this year, which I regretted because we really needed it out there. Rachel did, she was smart. I also brought a satellite phone. So I have an older Bivy stick that my dad got for me, and I do love it. Because I had just purchased this phone a week before our trip, I did download the Bivy app for it so that I would be ready to go. And I signed in with the wrong account. I signed in with an old account. So when I got out into the back country, that account wasn't activated. It was my other account that was activated. And then my baby stick didn't work for me out in the woods, which was kind of a tragedy. However, the SOS would have worked. I just wasn't able to send text messages out. There was only one night that I didn't have phone service, and I used Rachel's Verizon instead of my AT&T to send a message in the Smokies, which was surprising. I thought we wouldn't have had service for more of the Smokies. So it ended up working out, but that's definitely something to check into every time you go on a hike, is make sure you are logged into your real account and that everything's activated and ready to go. Otherwise, it's only gonna work as the SOS feature. So pretty much on every hike, I change up my Ultras. I never buy new ones. I do buy them all used off of eBay, which some people might frown on. But I really love recycling clothes. I really love trying out new kinds of Ultras. I really love the King MT edition of Ultras. They are like the original Lone Peaks. So if you liked the Lone Peaks 1 or 2, get the King MTs. They are exactly the same. They have the Velcro in the front to tie your laces. And I tried out a new pair this summer, which I have since lost. I have no idea where they are. And that's strange for me. I do have about 5 or 6 pairs of Ultras. Those were great. I didn't have any feet problems the whole time. I do wear wool socks with them. I don't wear Injinji liners like everyone thinks is really, it's really popular to wear Injinji toe sock liners. I don't wear those. I prefer to just wear one pair of solid, thick wool socks. I did regret not having my pair of Ultra Gators this year. I had lost one a while back, and so I need to get a replacement pair, but I did get tons of tiny pebbles and rocks in the Smokies that I really, really wish I had had my Gators for. So absolutely bring your Gators out to the Smokies. When we were at Uber Gatlinburg, I did buy this awesome Under Armour men's hat. I really love it. It's dry fit, and it keeps the sun off my face because I didn't have the sunscreen. And it made all of my photos look better because you couldn't see my 3 to 5 day hair that was underneath. Yeah. Part of backpacking is not being able to shower. So if you can have a hat to hide that unshowered hair for photography, you'll probably love all your pictures more. Just a thought. I have switched to mostly all wool gear. So I do have a wool Ibex bra, a smart wool shirt, smart wool hat. I do have Under Armour dry fit pants for the summer, and I do have wool underwear to sleep in and to hike in. For rain gear, I have the Lightheart gear jacket and the anti-gravity pants that Dixie recommends. Okay, it's summer, so I did not bring my wool gloves, but I did bring some rain gloves, which are just regular dishwashing gloves. I do like having these because it does keep your hands a little bit warmer when you're using your trekking poles in the rain, especially for hours if you get a torrential storm. I did bring my bug net. I think I only needed to use it once, which was great. I mean, it rained on us the first 6 days, so no bugs. Now, because I hike in a synthetic pant, I do tend to sleep in just cotton pants. So I bring a pair of cotton leggings every year to hike in. I do wear a long sleeve wool shirt though, also made by Smartwool, just to keep me warm at night. And this year I brought my Kuiu Peloton fleece, which is a hyper light fleece that I did not regret having. It was wonderful. So I put that on over the wool. And then, as you can see from my sleeping attire at this shelter clip, I would usually wear my wool hat underneath the hood of it. So I stayed really warm that way. And I felt really comfortable at night. There was only one night that I felt genuinely cold. And usually that's a result of your body cooling down and you just need to eat more food. So Rachel and I instituted 8 o'clock snack. And we would have an 8 o'clock snack, and then we'd hoist our packs up on the bear cables, and that really alleviated any shaking or nighttime hunger. So the snack that I chose to eat at 8 o'clock every night was a packet of Justin's peanut butter, and those extra 200 calories really kept me warm all night and kept me from shaking or feeling extra cold like I would normally on the shoulder seasons. So I hope that you enjoyed my review of some of the gear that we brought out. As for food and food systems, we did hang our entire backpacks this year because it was the Smokies, although we did have our waterproof bear bags and kits as well. We didn't really use those much at all. So yeah, and then I'll have to do a food review in a separate video. All right, thanks for tuning in. Take care. Have a great day, everybody.